How have you been able to grow at communicating the correct pronunciation of your name to others while still feeling confident and proud of your name?
Well, I think that's probably my one regret in
Mm,
life, not doing so. So I think I in the second verse I sort of call myself out on not being strong enough to own my name and hold people to that standard of getting it right. From a young age, I found it. I guess you could call it my coping mechanism. I came up with uh, what's the word? What do you call it? Uh, I found some name that was very similar in spelling
mhm.
to it, Sesame Street, which was a popular kids show back in the 80s, 70s, 80s. And by name recognition, people could identify that show and say, "Oh, okay, Sesame Street. Okay, yeah, just say it without the first S, and that's how you say my name." And it's one of those things where you say it once, and people have that name recognition. They don't forget it again. There's no more struggling and stumbling, and you know making this scene, just trying to say the name right. Whereas just, oh, yeah, like Sesame Street without the S. Oh, Sesame, that's how you say it. So, it's something I came up with as a child, and it's sort of stuck. And, I can't say I really put much effort into correcting people.
Mm,
The few people that did get it, cool. But if you were close enough, yeah, that was enough for me. And
mhm.
that's sort of how I lived most of my life. And I just thought it'd be a cool song idea to actually set the record straight and tell people how it's actually pronounced.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Out the Box Talks. I am your host, Cril. Let me just keep it real. This ain't another edition. This ain't just no regular other edition. This is the first episode of season 4 after coming off of celebrating the 100th episode in the month of December of last year. I'm excited to be back for a brand new show. This is officially episode 101. We're going into season 4. And I just want to give thanks and appreciation to all of the supporters of the platform, those that have been rocking with me since 2009 when I started doing interviews on Out the Box TV, the YouTube channel, all the way to 2021, getting to my 100th episode. Shout out to my brother A Level, my brother Mark, all of my people that rock with me for Out the Box, man, and all of the fans and the supporters. It has been a slow set of months. I wanted to make sure that I was taking care of certain things before I launched a new episode, and I'm still rolling out how the schedule is going to go for the year. But I'm excited to be back and share another dope interview with you for the Out the Box Talks podcast. With this podcast series this year, I'm going to be focusing mainly on specific albums and specific releases, more like recent releases. And the brother that I have on the platform today, I'm really excited to talk to him about his new album, which is actually his 6th project in his catalog in his music career. So I've had him on the platform before, but I never had him via the video. So if you're watching me on YouTube, then I'm really excited to bring the brother before you today on this virtual platform. All right, but remember, you can also catch me on the Out the Box Talks audio podcast via Anchor, via Apple, via Spotify, via Overcast, via Stitcher, all the places where you will find you know audio podcasts, right? And that's usually in a higher quality of audio. All right, so Listen, man, without further ado, I'm gonna run down a little bit about my guest today because I usually jump right into the interview, but I do want to give a little insight on his background, right? So this, like I said earlier, this is his sixth project. I've been following this brother, I think, since project. Let me see, is that six projects? Probably since project three. I think We Are Only Getting Older that he released in 2017 is when I first got wind of him. And that project is a classic project in my eyes. It definitely brought me into his world and it intrigued me enough to be a consistent fan of his music. So every project he's released since then, I've definitely been checking for. And I was excited to hear earlier in this year that he came out with a new album. So this album that he has out today, that's out now, was actually released on February 19th, and it's entitled "You Want a Piece of Me." It is produced by a producer by the name of J Powell, who we'll learn more about from the brother today. But yeah, man, like I definitely am excited to build with him on this project and just the different themes and the subjects that he's talking about here. All right. So he is hailing from the country of Canada, Mississauga, Ontario, to be exact. And I have to say, this brother, I'm gonna put it on the record. This is my favorite MC from Canada. Like I can't even say there's anybody else in Canada that I like more. And there's other dope MCs I like, but he is hands down my favorite MC from Canada. So yeah, man. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the Out the Box Talks listening and viewing audience, my brother hailing from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, the homie, the MC, the lyricist himself, my brother S. Welcome, welcome. What's good?
Wow, what
Good.
what an introduction! Wow, I appreciate you,
Indeed, brother.
man.
I be taking it there sometimes, but you are a brother that I I value for your mature and thoughtful output as an MC and just your overall respect as a person too. You know what I mean? So um I like to give people their flowers. I know that saying gets tossed around a lot now, but you know, I definitely like to give that recognition, especially for artists that I hold a lot of appreciation for. You know what I mean? So, welcome, brother. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. I'm blessed. Happy to be here once again on your platform, talking to your support base. And yeah, man, I'm happy to be alive. Happy to be doing what I enjoy doing, and kicking it with you this evening.
Indeed, indeed, man. It is a pleasure, like I said, man. So, like I said, I want to talk about this new album. I usually do this thing at the beginning of interviews where I ask artists about their history and their briefing. But because we've already done that, I want to and for folks that want to get that, you could always go back to the older episode. And it's really not that old. We did that interview, like, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago. So, they could go to that. But I want to jump right into the project so that we get to talking about it, right? So it's entitled "You Want a Piece of Me." It's produced by a beat maker by the name of J Powell, right? Can you talk to me a little bit about how this project came together and the relationship that transpired with J Powell where it would turn into this album?
Yeah, so J-Pal, he's a producer from the Toronto area. So he's basically the other end of the city, probably about half hour, 45 minutes away from me. We went to college together. So I've known him for since 97, around 97. He was a host of a underground hip hop show at the college that we went to. Um, I mean, he's a hip hop head. He's a music head, a beat head. You know, got put onto a lot of dope hip hop back in those days. You know, college radio. That was my staple. You know, during the college days to get me through. You know, all the hottest new artists. Basically him and his DJ friend used to host a show every Thursday night called In the Cut. And yeah, I mean, we've been cool ever since. We're into the same kind of artists, same kind of um, hip hop. And basically after we graduated, we kept in touch. Life happens. You kind of grow apart and whatnot, but we still kept in touch. Connected with him in 2012, where he actually produced two joints on my debut album, Feud for Thought. And we still kept in touch. I mean, he's one of these guys that he buys records. He likes to create. Whether he works with actively works with artists or not. I mean, that's irrelevant. He's just a fan of music and he loves to create. And he had reached out to me last year. Pandemic. He had some material laying around, and he reached out asking if I'd be interested in listening to what he'd compiled, and he had some material that definitely caught my ear, and we got to talking. Why don't we work on something together? I have all this material, and I know you're an active artist. You actually will put these beats to use, and he said, yeah, why not? And you could say the rest is history. So this whole process started, I think, around February of last year, and we just kind of chipped away at it, slowly but surely. And by, let's say, November of last year, we had the project pretty much done. It was just a matter of tweaking and sequencing and getting everything to sound the way we wanted it to sound. And we felt we had a strong enough project to release top of this year. And yeah, we put it out a month ago, and we're just pushing it.
Mm, dope, dope. Why'd you choose to title the album "You Want a Piece of Me"?
Um, well, basically, the first few songs that I wrote, the first three songs that I wrote for this record were "Home." Home was the first one.
Mhm.
Uh, "Attack" and "You Want a Piece of Me." Those in that order.
That order. Yeah.
So so basically all three songs are basically about me. Um, you know, when I really come down when it really comes down to it. And I thought after six albums, or my sixth album in, I hadn't really delved that far deep into my personal life really. And it just sort of the way it worked out. After the first three songs, the common theme with those three songs was aspects of my life that most people probably hadn't heard before, or even for folks that had been following me, probably I'd never revealed some of those details about my life. So yeah, it sounded like a cool title. It's sort of almost like a play on words with when you pick a fight with somebody, you want a piece of me, you want a piece of me. So yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, and yeah, we just rolled with it.
Dope, dope. What inspired the subject matter for the first three songs, and then what what type of thinking were you in to then create the subject matter for the rest?
So the first song was Home. The beat, just the vibe of the beat. The vibe of the beat was it had a feel to it where I felt at home with it. You know, being during the pandemic, spent a lot of time at home. Couldn't really go anywhere. And home is represents a lot of things for me in particular. It's my safe space, the place where I can create, I can be myself, and be around the ones that matter the most to me in my life, which happen to be my family. So yeah, that's really what inspired that one. The beat had a really nice mellow vibe. It had a nice bump to it. And as I got writing, that's sort of the direction that I went. I wanted to talk about aspects of my life that mattered a lot to me, and my family being number one, and the creative aspect being number two. So that's what inspired that one. The second song, Attack, um, as I wrote in the liner notes to the record, I was in my living room, writing to that beat. Kids came in, they turned the TV on. We were watching, one of these National Geographic, nature shows, and a segment came on where they had these lions, you know, plotting and strategizing how they survive out there in the wilderness. And it was really captivating stuff that I was watching, and I started to draw parallels to how I create music. Everything that I do, it's all you know calculated, it's thought out. There's always a game plan involved, which is exactly what I was watching. And how do you survive? How do you eat? You got to create something that you know gets people's attention. You got to plan. You got to get a strategy in place. You got to execute on that strategy. You got to make a good first impression. If you jump out the gate too fast, you'll burn yourself out, and you won't have anything to deliver to the listener. So you got to pace yourself, and be really smart and methodical in your approach. And there are so many parallels, between how I approach the music that I put out, and how lions, or any animal for that matter, survive in the animal kingdom. It just made a perfect concept to make a record. So that's
Interesting.
another piece about me that I thought I could share with the world. And then the
Nice.
third joint, You Want a Piece of Me, I thought, let me take it back to my humble beginnings, my parents, who are, a major influence in my life, huge part of my come up, and the reason why I've become the man that I am today is because of their hustle, their come up, from humble beginnings, and just their drive and their determination to raise us to be the best people that we can be. That's essentially what inspired that song. So all three of those, you'll find the common thread is it's about me.
Mm, mm.
So it just made sense to um, create all the remaining songs to sort of center around that focal theme, which
Nice. So it
happens
was
to
like
be
the
about
foundation.
right, right,
Got it. Got
right.
it. It's good to learn about how the Attack track was created, because now I understand why you have the cover artwork with the lion on it, right? Like you guys were actually watching National Geographics and taking a look at how the lions move. So
Yeah.
it's good to get that story. Um the song Home, which you just talked about briefly, you said there's a line in there where you said you learn a lot about yourself through your writing and seen the effects of your words manifest to real excitement. Can you expound more on what that real excitement is and the actual feeling you get?
Well, the excitement, I mean, one aspect of it is at live shows. I mean, I think reality really set in for me a few years back, just performing my material in front of complete strangers and seeing how they react to what it is that I'm saying to them is, so inspiring. It's so motivating. I mean, it's just amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I know you can relate to it as being an artist yourself. We do our best to try to capture who we are as individuals, and convey those same thoughts to strangers. And when a complete stranger can connect with what you say and find a common ground with what you're saying, and you see them throw a hand in the air, or spend money out of their hard-earned money on your art. That's, I mean, there isn't a better high than witnessing that. So that's part of what I was talking about with the manifesting the real excitement. And
So
just in general, just the response, the positive response that I've seen over the years to what I do and how I do it. So it's definitely a blessing to what this talent that the powers that be granted me, and to see that manifest into feelings of joy, or feelings of being able to connect with somebody on that level is it's amazing.
Dope, man. Going back to the track, going back to the Attack track, it features Super MC Elzai, who's like my top 3 favorite MC of all time.
Yeah.
And when I saw that single was coming out, when I saw that you already had gotten the Elzai feature, it made me even more excited about the project. Talk to me about how this feature worked out, man, between you and him.
Okay. So the Attack track, I had that in the chamber. So I had a homie who he had hit me up last, I'm gonna say June, July. So he had this idea for a compilation project. So he's a blogger slash he hosts a radio show. Shout out to my dude Righteous. He hosts a blog and a 24/7 radio station called All the Way Live Hip Hop.com. So he interviews artists, he plays artists, so he's pretty connected. He's got a number of I guess you know I guess either whether it's mutual friends or connections in the industry where he had a way to get at him. So actually, just backing up, going before that, so we had just as friends, we've been friends for a few years. He's been following my journey for since probably like 2014 or so. He had hit me up. We were just kind of talking. He asked me who my favorite MC was, or if I had the opportunity to work with somebody, who would that be? And I told him, Elzai. He's my top five, in my top five. And at the time, I thought it was just two hip hop fans talking. I had no idea that he had any intention of trying to reach out to him to get him on a song with me. So anyhow, so I told him, and a few weeks later, he hits me back, says, "Yeah, he has a a link to get to him, and he says he's down to do a joint with you. So if you have anything in mind or you want to create something, just get on it."
That's
So
right.
at the time, so that he was looking to release the project probably August, September time frame. He was looking to put it out. So it was already a pretty tight deadline to achieve. And then with COVID and not being able to properly sit down and connect in studio as like you really would want to. I decided, well, you know what? I got this project coming out, top of 2020, 2022, and you have your compilation that you're looking to put out. Why don't we sort of cross promote? So I have this joint already in the chamber. Attack was already done. Already had the two verses,
Mm.
the scratch core. Everything was done. It was basically sitting there. It was already mixed, and I thought, well, we have this strong record that we believed in. Jay and I believed in, and kind of bounced the idea around. What do you think of getting Elza on this? And my boy Jay was like, yeah, well, hell yeah, let's do it. So it's a dream come true for us. So
Right.
we sent him the track. I typed out like a one paragraph summary of the concept, and a couple weeks later, uh, we got a verse back from him, and the rest is history. It was like a bit of a shocker. We're in it was a surreal feeling, a bit of disbelief, all at the same time that you know one of our favorites is on a track with us. So yeah, I mean, the rest is history. L did what he does as a vet, as one of the best in the business when it comes to concept records, and he executed as we hoped he would, and the rest is history. Attack.
That's fresh, man. You
Yeah.
know, so you sent the music to him, right? So he got a chance to, or was it just a concept you told him, or did he actually hear the track? Because I know the track was already done already in terms of your
Yeah,
verse.
that's yeah. Sent him the full track.
Okay, wow. So did you feel any like, how you say, any feeling of like going back and redoing the music, redoing your verses after hearing his verse?
Nah.
Okay.
Like even like we've talked, Jay and I, we talked about it. Like we felt pretty strong about the way the track was, even if we weren't able to secure that Elzai feature, we were
Right.
confident that that track could stand on its own, and
Dope.
he just added that extra little oomph to it. So we're not,
Got it.
yeah, there was no going back. It was, the track was done as far as we were concerned, even before the proposition came to have him, and when he was added to it, it just made it even better. So
Indeed, indeed.
we yeah, we were confident with what we had.
That's a good place to be confident to go forward with it. I just asked the question because sometimes when you get on a track with such a dope MC, you're like, yo, maybe I need to go back and write, but it's dope that you were confident enough, you know what I mean? And you delivered really well on the track anyway, so it worked
Thank
out
you.
for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So on the self-titled song, you talk about being raised by African parents and how you grew up learning that African culture encourages the drive in education when it comes to aspirations for children as they grow into adults. How were you
Yes.
able to find balance in satisfying your parents' vision for you while still being able to, pursue your dreams, and just have that moving forward?
It's just, it was sort of built. It was sort of built or embedded in us. I mean, it wasn't anything that we had to learn from scratch or anything like that. Like, we were raised. There's certain values systems that we were raised. Me and my two siblings. So, I mean, we were raised to work hard. Being black kids in North America. There's always the stigma that you're gonna have to work harder than everybody else to
Mhm.
gain the same level of respect. So, you got to work hard. You got to put your head down. Whatever goals you have, you got to put a plan in place, and really show and prove, execute. And just, I mean, they were a living example of that. At the time, they came to this country, as students, grad students, with nothing more than a few dollars in their pocket, and a dream, as the proverbial $20 in a dream. That's basically who they were, and from that they were able to graduate. My dad has a PhD, my mom a master's degree. From a pretty good school up here, and they're able to raise us three, to be successful and self-sufficient in our own right. So, from a very young age, we were just taught that, hard work pays off.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's sort of built the fabric of who we are. So,
Dope, dope. Now I know on the album as well, you have I think it's a track called Dreams Interlude, where you actually have your parents speaking, you know,
right,
um, and they actually talk about encouraging you to pursue your dreams, right? Like, were they
right.
always like that, or did that come like later on, like pushing you to like do your dreams? Because old school parents, they tend to have this feeling of like, you know, you get your job, you put yourself in a secure situation, and
Yep,
that's kind of like the goal, right? That's like the main thing. But there's never really much talk about pursuing dreams as a musician, or
right,
as an artist, or the things that it takes a lot longer to get the type of success in, right? Like, so was
right.
that something that they always kind of instilled in you to still pursue your dreams, or did they arrive at that later on in life?
Well, I think for them it was always get the school done first,
Right, right.
And then, if there's any other things that you're interested in, then fine. But yeah, you got to take care of school first. So I mean, I was a pretty good track athlete back in, elementary and high school. So I always, did track meets. And I remember, my mom, she was always on me about, I don't know about these track meets. You're missing a lot of school and things like that. You gotta study. This stuff's taking too much time away from school. So I don't know. She was always apprehensive about it, but I was taking care of school, so it was okay. And same thing for even, now that I do music now. I remember back in like the early 2000s, when I was, putting out stuff, and she'd always kind of tease me like, why are you doing this rap? Why are you doing this rap? You're an engineer. It's always having these jokes, like, because there's this stigma that, yeah, I mean, you graduated college, you got your engineering degree. Why are you doing this rap? This rap is so childish, isn't it, for kids?
Did
But
they
I
ever?
mean, but
Go
as she
ahead.
saw me like pursuing it more and more, and she's seen, watched a few YouTube videos and seen a few interviews on YouTube and whatnot, and seeing the way people respond to what I've been doing all these years. She's, "Oh, okay, have fun. He took care of school. He's got his family, so he's secure. So yeah, he can have his rap."
Right, right, right. Got to make sure you satisfy parents, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, did they ever get a chance to see you perform live at any point?
Live, no,
Your
no,
shows? Not
no, not yet, not yet. I haven't
yet,
had
right?
that opportunity yet.
Well,
I'm,
nowadays,
I'm hoping, I'm hoping one of these days. But
okay,
they have watched me watch footage, online footage, but never in the flesh.
got it, got it. I mean, the beautiful thing about technology is now you can watch people live.
Yeah,
You could be literally performing in a whole other state or country, and as
right.
soon as somebody records it, they can see it. They put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
Dope. All right. So I wanted to also ask you in relation to that same track, the self-titled track. You state on there that in a line you say, for now, more important than winning medals is running the race. When it comes to this race of life in pursuit of achievement, how do you stay in the race when the others running with you have already received medals?
Hmm. That's a really good question. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to, this race, right, of life, the race of life, where we're trying to achieve things, right? This pursuit of achievement, how do you stay in the race when the others that are running in that race with you have already received medals? So you think about the
Just
folks that it's really, I'm coming from the standpoint of people that go through life and they look at their peers and they're like, oh man, because I haven't achieved what my peers have achieved, you start feeling like you're a failure because they
mm,
received their medal already, right? So my question
right.
is like, how do you still maintain the race, even though you're seeing other people who have achieved where you would like to be?
Well, I guess if you use the analogy of, just playing your own game. If you're busy focusing on what someone else is doing, that makes you lose focus of what your objective is and what you're trying to do. And that's sort of how, I've been trying to live my life. I have peers that, you know they're excelling at what they do, and I'm not there yet. But do I sit back and get upset at their success, or do I focus on me and try to do what I need to do to take myself to the next level? So that's really what that is. I mean, we're all in this game of life trying to win. And some people are, you're always going to have your haves and your have nots, and the ones that excel and the ones that maybe not so much. So you just have to focus on your purpose and what it is that you're out to do, and do it to the best of your ability. And hope with hard work and dedication and every all the other tools and resources around you, that you can accomplish what you set out to do. That's really all you can do.
Indeed, indeed. Thanks for the response. I love the
Yeah,
fact that you included your kids at the end of the song of home. I think it's one of the most special parts of the entire album. Um, it
uh,
really
cheers.
it really personalizes you as a father, right? And just that love that you have for your family, right? Um, so and on the end of the song, you have like an outro or outerlude where you're asking your kids about what home means to them. And I wanted to ask you if the outro of that song were extended and one of your kids asked you in return, what does home mean to you? What would you have said to them?
I would have told them to just rewind the track and play it again. Yeah, I mean, home for me is all of the above. So it's the place that I want to be when work is stressing me out. After a day of chewing me up and spitting me out, it's home. So it's being around them, being around wifey. I mean, this is my comfort zone. The folks that help me de-stress, after a long day at the 9 to 5, and the place, the people that I can be myself, my genuine self with. When you go to work, you have to answer to bosses and whatnot, and you have to be on your P's and Q's, and what's asked of you. Whereas at home, you can just, you know, you're with the people that you're most comfortable with. So,
Indeed.
that's one definition of home. And then, the second definition being, my creative outlet, the place that, I like to escape to every once in a while, throw my headphones on, got some instrumentals playing, or, I've got my pen and pad and I've got beats in my headphones and I'm writing, or I'm in the booth, laying down what I've written. So yeah, that for me, those are my two homes. Those
Yeah,
are my two homes. Yeah.
indeed, indeed. The song Come Up Story talks about your hip hop inspirations and your motivation to MC. After releasing about 5 projects prior to this one, where do you now get the motivation to keep creating and producing new music?
I get inspiration from anywhere. I mean, if my catalog is any indication, I mean, I get inspiration from wherever it comes. So if it's something I see on TV or something I see online, something I see out there in the world happening, uh, you know, whether it's something, a social commentary, family, myself, you know, I get inspiration from anywhere, any and everywhere, and I try to personalize it as much as possible. See if there's something relatable that I can, a creative way to spin it so that it's relatable. That's what I like to do. So yeah, I think that's where my strong point is finding commonalities between whatever it is that I've observed or experienced, and how other people might be able to, see themselves in whatever it is that I want to convey.
Well said, man. Well said. You have a line on the song Say My Name Right where you say rather than embrace your African name, you resorted to westernizing it, due to people not being able to pronounce the name well. How have you been able to grow at communicating the correct pronunciation of your name to others while still feeling confident and proud of your name?
Well, I think that's probably my one regret in
Mm,
life, not doing so. So I think in the second verse, I sort of call myself out on, not being strong enough to own my name and hold people to that standard of, getting it right. From a young age, I found it. I guess you could call it my coping mechanism. I came up with uh, what's the word? What do you call it? Uh, I found some name that was very similar in spelling
Mhm.
to it, Sesame Street, which was a popular kids show back in the 80s, 70s, 80s. And by name recognition, people could identify that show and say, "Oh, okay, Sesame Street. Okay, yeah, just say it without the first S, and that's how you say my name." And it's one of those things where you say it once, and people have that name recognition. They don't forget it again. There's no more struggling and stumbling, and you know making this scene, just trying to say the name right. Whereas just, oh yeah, like Sesame Street without the S. Oh, Sesame, that's how you say it. So, it's something I came up with as a child, and it's sort of stuck. And, I can't say I really put much effort into correcting people.
Mm,
The few people that did get it, cool. But if you were close enough, yeah, that was enough for me. And
mhm.
that's sort of how I lived most of my life. And, I just thought it'd be a cool song idea to actually set the record straight and tell people how it's actually pronounced.
Yeah, and
So, I
it's
mean,
now I was gonna say it's so fitting for a project like this, right? Because you're bringing them into your world, and
right,
what better topic than to talk about your name, right? Because it clearly identifies with you,
right.
So, I wanted to ask you, like, for people out there that, well, let me ask you this first. I want to ask you, what were some of the names that people would like mix up your name with, like, that they would mispronounce? I mean, you don't have to go down this road, but I wanted to kind of, you know, ask like like kind of to see what you were dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because it's pronounced Esame, right? Yeah.
Well, that's the westernized way. The,
Oh,
the the
okay. So
proper pronunciation is SMA.
got it.
SMA.
Got it. Okay. See, I'm glad
So
I
I
asked.
yeah. So I mean I got Azim, Asemi, Isimi. I mean, there's all kinds of different variations that I've heard throughout my life. So it was just easier. You know what? Just estimate. If you say it like that, we're good. I'm not gonna stress about it
Yeah.
to a fault,
That's
but it is what it is.
right.
I put that on myself, so that's on me.
Yeah, that I was gonna say that's wild that even when you attempted to find a way to get people to pronounce the name or get close to pronouncing the name, it still wasn't the exact pronunciation, right?
Right,
So yeah,
right.
that's interesting, man. Wow. Wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
man, that's
lost
interesting.
lost a piece of me. Lost a piece of me when I failed to recognize it.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep right there. What word of advice would you give to someone who is unsure of how to pronounce someone's name before they attempt to? Like, what would you share with people? Like people out there that just belt people's names out or just blurt people's names out without even thinking, you know, um, this could offend this person. Like,
Right.
what words of caution or cautionary words of advice would you give to people who stumble?
Well, in that song, like towards the end, that there is a soundbite in there where I think that there's a gentleman that says something like, am I saying your name correctly? Or, what's the proper pronunciation of your name? Just out of respect for whoever it is. So you can actually hear it from the horse's mouth, the proper way to say it, if it's something that's not a common name that is everyday name. So, I just say if you come across a name that's, non-Anglo-Saxon, if you want to call it that, you know, out of courtesy, just ask them, what's the proper pronunciation? Or how would you like to be referred to?
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for sharing that. And I think I do remember that excerpt on the album as well, man, which is cool too, because you included. I love when albums are able to tell a story not just with the lyrics, not just with the main MC, but even with like the audio excerpts or the skits and all of that stuff. It kind of helps bring everything together. So
Yeah,
that was cool. Whose idea was that to put that those clips in? Was it you or
that was a,
Deepak? You as
that
well.
was me. That was me. That was me.
Dope, dope. How do you
Yeah.
go about finding these kinds of skits and excerpts to put into your album?
It's all YouTube, baby. YouTube. I literally just typed in, say my name right or wrong name. I think I typed those into the YouTube
Wow.
search bar, and
That
yeah,
makes sense.
ton of
Yeah.
stuff came up. And I just scrolling through different, video clips, and I think that could fit. I think that could fit, and technology is able to, rip the audio and yeah, piece it together and make it sound proper. So yeah.
One of the closing tracks on the album is entitled Winning Formula. And I wanted to ask you, what would you say is the winning formula to being a successful husband and father?
Winning formula to being a successful husband and father. Just, being there for them, showing them that they are a priority. I think that's one of the things that, fortunately I've been able to do. I think they still like me after all these years. Yeah, I mean, I love my wife, love my kids, and I make no secret about it. I declare them as the most important people in my life, and I just try to be the best person. I feel like I am my best self with them in my life, and I make sure I remind them as much as possible that that's who and what they are to me. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, that's essentially it, really.
Dope, dope. Well said, man. Man, S, it has been a pleasure chatting with you today, man. I'm so glad that we could chop it up about this project. Before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you, like, what do you envision for the way that you would like this project to continue to roll out? Like, what are some things you hope to achieve with it?
Well, I mean, I definitely want as many listeners to hear it and absorb it as possible. So I'm gonna continue to push this project at least another 2 years. I mean, as I've done with every other project, it's not just a 1 month and done type deal. I push my projects for at least a solid year and a half, 2 years plus. And even when the next project comes out, you'll still see me posting about this album, as I am even to this day. A project like social media or the Connect EDP will still get a post here and there. So I want to hit up as many outlets as I can, such as yourself and others, to get the word out there. And fortunately, with things looking on the up and up, with opening up, with this
Right.
pandemic sort of subsiding, hopefully there'll be some show opportunities to really promote the material on this record. And just keep pushing, just keep plugging away, man. That's really what I want to do, and get as many ears on this project as I can. So
Wonderful, wonderful, man. Listen, bro, man, it has been a pleasure. I wish you all the best in success, not just with this album, but with the other projects to come. Because I know, even though it may take about another year or two for you to release again, I know when you release, you always put that quality, input into your music, and it definitely shows. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what else. I know you got the animated video for this, for one of the songs on this album, and I'm assuming you're probably going to be doing performances as things get to open up more, and hopefully we see
right,
you in the States at some point.
I hope so too. I hope
Yeah.
so too.
Indeed.
I mean, before the pandemic, I had a couple of gigs, stateside gigs booked, and literally gone. So
It's the case with
I'm
so many.
hoping I can pick up where I left off. So
Yes, indeed, man. Much success to you, man. People out there, the album is now available on Bandcamp. It is entitled You Want a Piece of Me by my brother S. Just simple as ES, right? It's
yeah,
also on digital streaming platforms, right? So go check that
yeah,
out and support, quality, mature, thought-provoking, dope sounding hip-hop. I can definitely approve of this brother's music, man. And you know, thank you, man. It's a pleasure again to have you, man. First time visually on the show, right? So yeah,
yes, yes, indeed.
indeed, man.
Thank you so much once again for having me. Appreciate you.
No doubt. Let the people know where they can find you online, your social media pages, your website, the links that they need to go to keep connected with you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Same handle. It's at HGMonsteres. That's HGMonsteres. It's got links to all my socials, all my Bandcamp and Spotify and all the platforms. So yeah, just hit up at HGMonsteres and you'll be able to find everything.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for us, Out the Box Media, remember to go keep connected with us. I got the link at the bottom of the screen, outtheboxmedia.com. Earlier this year, I relaunched the website to act as sort of a new music blog as well. So I've been busy, you know what I mean, making sure that I'm doing my part to keep pushing the culture of hip hop forward. So if you go to the website daily, I'm posting new music posts like my brother S and a lot of dope, talented, creative and conscious hip hop artists that exist out there. So if you're someone who has been like, man, I don't know where to look for the dope new hip hop. I don't know where to look for the creative, the conscious, the mature, the thought provoking hip hop. That website will put you on, right? And as I'm starting back to do new shows for Out the Box Talks, you can also come here for interview content with a lot of these dope artists as well. If you would like to support the platform, you can send donations to our Cash App and PayPal. So you could do Cash App at #, Out the Box Rep, or you can send it to PayPal at paypal.me/outtheboxmedia. I'll also put the links in the description of the video. And we have a Patreon page that you can also go to support the platform, where you can get access to exclusive interview clips that have not been released to the public. So you have to be a Patreon member to be able to get access to those clips. And you can go to that patreon.com/outtheboxmedia. All right. Thank you again to all of the listeners, viewers, and supporters. I will catch y'all on the next video. Till next time, I want to say peace, love, and light. Stay healthy, stay focused, stay safe. We are out of here. Peace.